Greetings YouTube, welcome back to Dragon Quest XI, and I just want to start by giving a shout out to Yoda123 who has recently signed up to be our latest channel member, so thank you very much there for your support, and I would encourage you folks as well to go and check out his channel. I'll leave a link to it in the video description. There's some pretty awesome content on there. Actually, I had a nose earlier on covering Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, lots of Let's Plays for you guys to go and check out, and I would, as I say, encourage you to do so. So yes, a big thank you as well to everybody else who continues to support me and the videos that I make here on the channel. Alright then guys, so let's get started with today's episode, and we've made our way back now to the Last Bastion. We're going to enter through and start seeing what's ahead of us, now that we've gone ahead and hopefully brought a little bit of light back to the region. Not the world, mind, but to the region. And as you guys probably noticed as you made your way back, if you didn't teleport back, we've still got the same vicious enemies lurking around the place. So it's not a complete reversal of the darkness that's been brought upon the land. But hey, the sky's no longer shining with purple hues or whatnot, so that's something at least. As we first enter then, it all seems a little bit quiet, doesn't it? Not a whole lot going on, it's got to be said. So we're just going to start by heading south and straight through into the next area. Try and find out where everybody's hiding out. See what exactly is going on around here. And I'm just going to bring up the map. Still seems to be a little bit quiet. I can't see anybody else around the place. So we'll continue to head south into the next area. And now it looks like there might be a cutscene.
Someone! Anyone! Your Majesty? Please. Somebody! Wait. That noise.
You did it, Hendrick. You saved us all.
Out of my way! Let me through! Let me look at you in the daylight at last. Oh, yes! My handsome little soldier. My hero. Just look at you. Oh.
You set aside your differences with Hendrick, with me, and fought to bring back the light. We are forever in your debt. The world is still in a desperate state. But now we have something. We have hope. We have the Luminary. May you banish the darkness once and for all. Hendrick, my ever-faithful knight. Today's victory is as much yours as anyone's. Your strength, too, will be needed in the struggle to free the world from evil. The people of the Last Bastion will learn to make do without you. As I hope will I. So please, do not hesitate. Do what you know you must.
Honored Luminary. I serve you now. Though it cost me my life, I will stand beside you until the darkness is no more.
So excitingly guys, and I knew this was going to happen but I didn't want to say anything lest I spoilt it for you folks. We get a new party member at this point. So you probably guessed this already because Hendrick had obviously been a guest in the party for the last part of the game. Well, now he's joining us permanently and he is going to be the final party member 50 plus hours into the game, and he joins us at this point, eh? So yes, we do have a new party member who is going to fulfill a unique role, which you probably already guessed is going to be a tanking role. So we'll look at him a little bit more in detail as we get control back in a few moments' time.
Dawn breaks in Heliodor. The first victory in the fight against the darkness is ours.
So we've had a bit of a party through the night. I guess we're quite tired now, but morning has arrived. Okay, and for completing that part of the story, we get both an accolade and, perhaps more excitingly, a trophy as well. So, Best of the Bastion. So first things first, let's go over to the... well, first of all, let's just check out Hendrick's gear. Now you can see that he's already wielding a great sword, along with a couple of pieces of armour as well, or one piece of armour rather, and an accessory. Now, some things to note here is that although Hendrick can wield great swords, he can also wield one-handed swords and one-handed axes. And I'm going to recommend that you unequip the great sword and equip him with a one-handed weapon and a shield. And the reason for that is, as I mentioned a few moments ago, Hendrick's best role served in the party is that of a tank, since none of the other party members will really come close to be able to tanking in the way that he's able to do. So he can draw the attacks of enemies, he can mitigate damage, and he's just generally really useful for that specific situation. So we're going to have a look at his skills in a moment's time, but first things first, I'm going to go ahead and equip him with the Platinum Platter. So that will serve as a shield for us, and then we're going to go ahead and equip, no, not the Great Sword, I didn't actually mean to click that, with a one-handed weapon. So we'll just find the most damaging one-handed weapon, probably the Heliodorian Sword, it seems, 196 attack. Or we could go for the Platinum Sword. The Zombie's Bane's pretty good as well. The Platinum Sword does have some charm on it as well, which I guess could be a bonus, so let's go ahead and throw that on. And then we'll put him the Platinum Platter on. And we can also go ahead and sort out his other gear as well. Although, what we could do is select Defensive here. In fact, we can equip the Cavalier something or other. Let me just have a look at the stats of that one. Yeah, it's a lower charm, but it does have higher attack. Now, here's the thing. For various reasons, I'm going to recommend sticking with axes for the time being, because they are generally more damaging than one-handed swords, so go well with his shield. But later on, we are going to be switching over to swords, because some of the swords that we can get in the game during Act 3 are just generally far better at the, you know, for Hendrick than any of the axes are. But for now, I'd recommend sticking with axes since they do more damage. Right, so let's go ahead now and just automatically equip him there. The game will sort out the best gear. Well, it's giving him a helmet anyway. So we'll go and have a look at his skills now as well. Now, when you come over to Hendrick Skills, you're going to find that he actually has 5 categories from which you can invest in. Now, 4 of those 5 he's already got 2 points invested into, as you can see there. So eventually, you might want to, you know, remove some of the points from some of these categories that we're not going to be focusing on right now. But we don't have the option to do that yet, since we're not at a statue. So we're just going to work with what we've got, which for me is 73 points. And what I'm going to recommend, first of all, obviously we're not going to be putting any points into Great Swords since we won't be using those. I'm going to take those out of that category so we can spend them elsewhere when we can. And that gives us swords, shields and axes. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on axes initially, so we can probably take the points out of swords as well. This means one-handed swords, of course. And actually we're going to start by investing into shields. Okay, since he is going to be tanking, there are some great skills, by the way, with axes and stuff. But for now, as I say, we are going to be focusing on shields to improve his tanking abilities, ability to take damage and to block damage, etc, etc. So the shields tree are found, or the shield options are found to the top quarter of the right hand side of his overall tree, if that makes sense. So we're going to start by investing into defense when wearing a shield plus 10. So pretty bog standard stuff really, but obviously it's going to be a big help for us. And then we're going to go for the Wholly Impregnable ability. Okay, so make sure we learn that next. And I don't think, oh look, we get an accolade for that, very nice. We can't learn that one unfortunately unless we go ahead and learn a great sword ability, which I'm not really interested in doing, so we'll leave that one for now. Instead we'll head up here to the impressive defense plus 30 when having a shield equipped, and we'll just see what this new ability is that we've gained access to. Desperate Measures, an all but impenetrable defensive stance that can deflect enemies' desperate attacks. Sounds pretty good, we'll come back to that in a moment. Other things I recommend for sure are block chance when wearing plus 4%. I know the flat out number increase stat abilities aren't really that exciting, but unfortunately the game is balanced around them, so you do kind of need to learn them. Block and Spiel slams into the enemy with a shield. Okay, may as well. And is that the end? Okay, yeah, then we're moving into Heroism next. So we'll go ahead and learn Desperate Measures as well. Oh, we can't yet. Not enough skill points. Okay, well, we'll learn that next. At least then we've got the shields pretty much finalised. And that should really help then, as I say, with Hendrick's tanking abilities. So that's pretty much all there is to say about the new party member for now. We'll get to see him in action, no doubt, in a little while. But for now, in fact, if we go back over to the character builder here, one thing you might want to do instead of sticking solely into shields is improve damage as well, because he won't always be needed for tanking, although that's going to be his main role. Obviously when you're just out in the field, it'll be nice just to, you know, be able to do damage to regular enemies. So it won't be a bad idea to head over into axes at that point, and you can learn abilities such as parallax, okay, and then that will allow you to go down to abilities such as increasing attack power by plus 20, which is very nice. So if you want to sacrifice a shield ability in order to go down that route, then I'd recommend perhaps not learning abilities such as, where is it? Never want that one. Okay, yeah, don't go for Desperate Measures, and maybe don't go for Block and Spiel either. Okay, if you skip out on those two, then that should give you enough to invest in some axe abilities as well, which I might actually do myself as we continue to earn more points with Hendrick here. Let's just see what we can do right now. Okay, we'll go ahead and learn Parallax. And then next up we'll learn the plus 20 damage. I think it'll just help when he's not needed to tank, if that makes sense. It's a compromise, but one that's worth making. Right then, so next up, we're going to go back to the King. Okay guys, what I've done, just before we go to the King here, there's a detour we can make. But before we actually get to that detour, I've gone to the church, reset the points on Hendrick's categories. If I just go over to the character builder here, I'll show you. So Great Sword is now down to 0, and Sword is down to 0, and that's going to give me enough points. I haven't actually touched shields, I haven't had to go ahead and learn Attack when wielding plus 10. That's for axes, of course. And then the same for plus 20. I had just enough points to do both of those, which is a bit of a bonus. So we now should be doing a nice amount of damage, at least compared to what we would have been previously to that. So we can continue to focus now on the shields tree and on the axe tree. So just a little tip, you can do that, guys. By the way, I've also given Hendrick the Restorative Accessory, and the reason for that is it actually gives a little bit of a boost to his defense, but it actually heals him as well every single combat round, which is obviously going to be helpful since he's fulfilling that tanking role. I mentioned a detour then. For the detour, to show you on the map here, we're going to be entering Cobblestone Tour. Okay. And it's just a bit of a detour for one item, but it is one that we are going to want to get, of course, for the sake of completionism. And we do need to make our way over Unfortunately, it's a bit of a run all the way over to the caverns area. So just follow the path. It's been a while since we've been here, hasn't it? This was right at the start of the game. Do you remember, guys? I'm sure you do. Just check we're going the right way still. Yep. All the way over into the cave. And this is bringing back memories, actually. Can't believe it's been so long since we've been into this area. It's been so long since we started the game, hasn't it? Okay, so at the first intersection here, just try and dodge some of these enemies if we can. In fact, do we need to kill these guys? I'm not sure, actually. Let me just check very briefly the defeated monster list here. Yeah, there's 2 enemies we need to go ahead and take care of. Well, I'll sort that out later on. I won't do that now. We're going to go past the first intersection by heading south. Try and avoid the crabsticles there. Cross the bridge as we make our way down to this kind of complex spaghetti set of paths. And here we're going to head down this cave over here to the right of us. And we should just be able to follow this around now. And all this just for 1 item, eh guys? I'll break these pots, but I think we won't find anything in them. We must have broken them before. Or there was nothing in them before. I can't remember, it was so long ago. I cannot remember. Eventually though, folks, if we follow this path, should be a treasure chest. In fact, I can see it over here. So the path is actually quite linear still. And that's what we've come for. So, footwear of the rich and famous. Now, the reason we couldn't grab this treasure chest the first time we came to Cobblestone Tour, all those many days ago, was due to the fact that the water level was higher then, so the chest wasn't accessible. But now it is. So, obviously we don't want to have to run all the way back. We're just going to go ahead and zoom back to the Last Bastion here. Oh, we can't. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that was annoying, had to run back. I think it's because we're at one of those parts in the story where you temporarily aren't allowed to zoom around until you've gone ahead and spoken to who it is you need to speak to. Which is exactly what we're going to go and do now. So we're going to head back into the central part of the Last Bastion here and make our way once again over to the royal tent. What's this person got to say for themselves? Oh, it's Gemma. Yeah, the king wants to see us. Okay. I think they'd get those steps fixed by now, wouldn't you? This guy doesn't have a throne, he just has a bed.
I trust that you slept well? Or did the people perhaps not permit you the luxury of rest, eh? Or even better, there is no surer sign of a kingdom at peace than a high-spirited populace. Now, to more serious matters. Hendrick, there is something I wish you to have.
The shield of Heliodor. Sire.
You are like a son to me. And it is a father's duty to prepare his offspring for the dangers that await them. You will have need of it, I am sure. You wear it well. The shield has always been the mark of our mightiest knights. There can be none mightier than the Luminary's own guardian. You have no complaints, I trust.
No, my liege.
I understand that you had hoped for the World Tree to guide you on your quest. Alas, it is no more. But all hope is not lost. Your father once told me that Yggdrasil was not the only sacred place in Adria. He spoke of another, a holy mountain in the south known as Pang Lai. The fate of those who dwell there is deeply intertwined with that of the Luminary, or so he said. It may be mere hearsay, a conversation half remembered, but if it is true, You may yet find help in your quest to defeat the Lord of Shadows. Venture west through the Mangle Grove, and you will find a valley that leads to the Costa Valor. Pass through the checkpoint beyond it, and you will soon find Mount Panglai. It is not a road I have traveled myself. Be prepared, and may your journey be a safe one.
Right, so we've got our next destination now, and we're going to be making our way to Mount Panglai. We're going to be getting there through the Mangle Grove, so we're going to go ahead and just head to the tent to save up. But one thing you probably noticed, you couldn't really miss it, is that we got a brand new shield, the Shield of Heliodor, which is going to be a decent shield actually for Hendrick. And as soon as we get to a campsite, I am going to recommend just spending a bit of time upgrading that to +3 if at all possible. So we'll go ahead and equip it anyway now. So at least he's wearing it. Even in its poorest form, it's an upgrade to what it is that we're currently using. And we're just going to head out through this gate and make our way over to the save point. A good opportunity to save, good opportunity to rest up as well, I think. So folks, I'm going to go ahead and take a break at this point. Thanks for joining me today. And come back soon as we continue on our adventures through Dragon Quest XI. Have a great day everyone, and I'll see you soon.